If the ever-changing and fast-paced evolution of technology and business has you wishing you had the right-sized partner to guide you through your IT landscape, it's time for you to meet the experts at YASH Technologies and C5MI. Tech Talk Managing the New Normal with YASH Technologies and C5MI connects you with the best business experts who are making this happen for companies all across the world. We delve into global business challenges, from SAP S/4, managed services and the digital workplace, to live factory, infrastructure, and much more. Tune into the Business Channel to hear today's top technology industry experts share their insights on how companies like yours are partnering with YASH Technologies and C5MI to transform their IT landscapes. Welcome to a revolutionary hour of business technology talk. This is Tech Talk, Managing the New Normal, with YASH Technologies and C5MI. You'll hear from the experts with the know-how to revolutionize and transform your business for a truly efficient, actionable technology transformation during both prosperous and challenging times. Now, here's your host and moderator, Bonnie D. Graham.
So, Denny Goat, I'm going to put you back in speaker view. Welcome.
Hey, Bonnie. Thanks for letting me be here today. Yeah, I don't know if we can compare oil changes to drones from last week, but, I think the topic will be interesting. So, Marty talked about going often here from the shop floor to the top floor. I'm going to pivot a little bit. We're going to go from the server room to the boardroom, okay? We're going to talk about how to bring that value from the server room and up into the business. So Microsoft end of service, it's just what it says it is. It's the Microsoft Windows server going out of service, no longer supported, no virus updates, no security updates, nothing like that. From a SQL Server perspective, that product is another one that goes out of style, goes out of service. And, and nobody likes to do it, Bonnie. So maybe we talk about style that way, but you don't see the value in it. And it's, YASH can help you bring value through something normal like that. And that's why I mentioned you before the show started about the oil change. So if you think about an oil change, everybody takes their car to get it serviced, or the majority of us do. And when you do that, you take it to the experts, right? And we take it to the experts because there are really probably two reasons. Number one, they do it faster than we could do it. They've got the right tools. They've got the right place to do it. Also, they know what problems to look for when they're under the hood, and they know how to put things back correctly. So, taking that there, we can benefit from that. And eventually, every once in a while, Bonnie, not all the time, but you take your car in and you get the oil changed. You think this is going to cost me 30 or 40 bucks, but what happens? They come out and you know what? You got a little shimmy in there, and you need $1,000 worth of tires, and you also need your antifreeze flushed. And hey, here's that $4,500 estimate, and my car's only worth $10,000. So at that point, and this really, I don't mean to get silly with the analogy, but it really is true when you compare it to servers. You have a decision to make, right? Do you buy a new car? Do you upgrade? Or do you stick with what you've got and fix it? And both decisions can be right. And that's the point, and that's what we're going to talk through today, Bonnie, is YASH has really honed in on this process of Microsoft end of service products going in, working with the businesses and figuring out what's right.
So tell me some more. And by the way, I'm thinking as you're talking, and Derek and even John in the beginning, and Marty, I'm thinking we should have called this the car edition, John. This should have been Tech Talk, Managing the New Normal, the car or the automotive edition, because we've used that theme. Denny, I want to hear more from you. Go ahead. What do you got?
Well, first, let's cover what makes YASH uniquely qualified to do this, because your audience may be thinking, upgrading a server, what's the big deal here, right? But, YASH, we've talked about the beginnings of YASH, John mentioned, and we started out in the manufacturing vertical. And within the manufacturing vertical, and a lot of verticals have this requirement these days, but there is not a lot of time to take those critical servers down, right? We have to go in and you have to really do the negotiating with the business. If you have a critical server, you're going to negotiate with the application team. Maybe they want to upgrade the application and they've been waiting for a downtime. So, I've seen this in real life where someone goes in and they upgrade a server and then a month later they take it down again to upgrade the application, and that's not what you want to do to your business. So again, over the last couple of decades, YASH has perfected the process there, and we really turn this into, one of my architects talked to me last week when we were talking about this subject, and he said, you've got to remind people that this is not a point in time exercise. It's not an oil change, Bonnie, and that's what I'm trying to drive home here. It is looking at the cycle of the life cycle of that server so that you can really do an evaluation there and figure out what we need to do. So from first, if we talk about the risks a little bit of not updating, the biggest risk, and it's more of an effect of this or a result of not upgrading, and that's hurting your brand. And if you don't upgrade, you're not going to be able to move as fast, you're not as secure, and ultimately it's going to come down to impacting your clients. And so first and foremost, we want to always protect that brand and the trust that you've built with your clients. Second off, and I'm going to go through a little bit quickly here for the sake of time, but you've got aging hardware, you've got downtime caused by old operating systems or old applications, the time spent resolving the issues. And Bonnie, we've seen, study after study, you look at the help desk tickets, the service desk tickets, and you see once you get that newer software, that newer operating system, sometimes that newer hardware in there, if you decide to do that, incidents really go down. And when you're talking about companies that have 100, 200, 1,000, 10,000 servers, that really makes a big difference, Bonnie. So the next would be, that business interruption as a result to that. Malware, again, if we're upgrading the newer hardware and software, you're going to be more secure. And then I'm going to reemphasize the first one I started with, which is the brand, protecting your brand. Because again, it's like changing oil. We know what happens if you don't change that oil. And I know we're all getting 3 months to the gallon right now, as you said. But if you don't go out and check that oil, what happens? Your engine blows up and you're stuck, right?
Denny, think about the workload if you have an AI-powered bot at your customer help desk and they're answering the phone and they get, why wasn't my order delivered? Why is there a delay? Why are you triple charging me? Why did you tell me the supplies didn't come in because your supply chain is a little broken right now? Why did you tell me you got downtime because you're upgrading your software? Why did you tell me the work shift didn't come in today or somebody's car broke down on the way? Can you imagine the overload on AI to have to tell that to management? What went wrong in terms of brand representation, customer? You don't want to do that to your bot. So Denny, there's a word here. It's an M word. I see it in your notes and it's called modernize. How do we get to the solution?
Yeah, perfect. And Marty talked a lot, and I've been out on the shop floor with Marty and Derek before. It is so exciting to be out there and to watch the things that they do. But guess what they need? And you mentioned AI. You know what they need? They don't need that 1990s server, that Pentium, right, out there. They need that new hardware, that new server that's able to handle the AI, that's able to handle the quick data, that's able to do, nobody wants to have their iPad out on the shop floor, enter that query and wait 15 seconds. They need it now. And so infrastructure, they wouldn't be able to do the things they do without, like I mentioned last time, that circulatory system carrying the data from one point to another. So yes, you mentioned modernize. It is not about, the Microsoft end of service. It is about modernization. And we had a tagline, I believe, as we were advertising this, which was, doing this helps you prepare for the future without you really knowing what the future holds. And this is how. So I'll bring it back to that. But through that modernization, right, we're going to optimize the cost, because we're going to take a look. And Bonnie, we go in, let's say we enter a company with 1,000 servers. By the time we're done upgrading the end of service products, we're probably going to end up with less servers. Or if it's a growing company and they're adding servers every day, we will have flattened that curve, because we don't just blindly go in and update a server. We're going to go in and we're going to have a conversation around, what's this server do? Should we move it to the cloud? Should we get rid of that server? Is it better suited for a serverless environment and change to microservices architecture? And back to my future comment, the less parts we have, the less chance we have for failure. We've known that for 100 years, ever since Henry Ford, right? And so we need to be able to figure out how we can complete that cycle, not just evaluate it. The end of service is just a prompt for us to have that conversation. So you hit it on the head. It is all about modernization.
Good.
Yeah. And, and secondly, again, some of the flip side, but I think it's worth saying from a modernization perspective, today, it's more important than ever that we've got to have a secure environment. And Marty and Derek and those guys are running around on the shop floor. They're popping up data terminals everywhere. They're popping up IoT devices, and so we need the Raspberry Pis. Everything needs to be secure. And you've got to have the latest security on your systems to do that. And this is a good way to do that. So from a pandemic perspective, and I think Derek touched on this, and so did Marty, is now is really the time, Bonnie, to embrace that transformation. Now is the time to take a look at that and figure out what we can do to modernize. The other one that I'll mention is the scalability and the flexibility. So I talked about moving things to the cloud. When we move to the cloud, we were to better react to the business there to prepare for the future, right? We're able to ramp up on, if they come to us and they want to add a section to the shop floor, it's very easy for us to do that. Whereas if we've got that stagnant infrastructure in our data center today, I'm sorry, Marty, give me 90 days lead time to order that server for you, right? And then you can come back and test it in 90 days, and then maybe you can deliver it in 180. Marty's not on here right now, but that doesn't work, right? So, I mean, that's just not the speed that we want to go at. So, yeah. And the other thing that I'd mentioned, Bonnie, is from a cloud perspective, when we are talking about Microsoft end of service, Azure has, if you move a server to Azure, if you've got an old Windows box like Windows 2008, you can migrate that server to Azure, and Microsoft will give you 3 extra years of support. So that's another thing that we're doing with our clients, is walking in and saying, look, tell your management here, we can really kill 2 birds with 1 stone. We can get that server migrated up to the cloud, buy you some more time, and then upgrade it as well.
Thank you for tuning in to Tech Talk, Managing the New Normal with YASH Technologies and C5MI. To keep the conversation going, tweet your questions and comments to YASH_tech or email john.gretter@yash.com. That's john.gretter@yash.com. We look forward to hearing from you.